Hey, hello, welcome everyone to our monthly career connection. We're going to wait a few more seconds just to let everybody sign on before we get started. Hello, everybody who's joining in. We're going to give it a few more seconds before we go ahead and get started with today's career connection. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on our Career Connection webinar. My name is Neverly Sainville, and I'll be your host for today. We're very excited to go ahead and start with Mastering LinkedIn. We have Anthony Gagliano, who will be taking us through today's presentation, and he is the CareerSource Suncoast. So before we do get started, I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping items. Today's session is going to be recorded and made available on our YouTube channel within 48 hours of today's webinar. We also will have a link of the recording available for the presentation for anyone who registered but was not able to attend today. Now, because this is a webinar, all lines are muted, but you can ask your questions using the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen. As we move through today's presentation, feel free to type any questions that you might have in the Q&A box, and we'll leave about 10 minutes towards the end to go ahead and review some of those questions. All right, so our guest speaker today is Anthony Gagliano, VP and COO of CareerSource Suncoast. And then we're going to move over to our Q&A, followed by wrap-ups. And before we all end, please stay online for an additional minute. There will be a survey that appears on your screen. We really appreciate it if you would fill that out. Your feedback provided is really important as we use this to our surveys to better our future webinars and our programming. So before I turn it over to Anthony, I do want to go over and tell you a little bit about the Women's Resource Center. So the Women's Resource Center has been empowering women in Manatee and Sarasota counties since 1979. We have 3 centers across both counties, one in Bradenton, Sarasota, and another in Venice. We serve over 9,000 clients yearly and deliver about 7,000 hours of programming. Our goal at the Women's Resource Center is to engage, educate, enrich, and empower women of all generations. We're a place where women call when they're not sure where to turn for help. To do so, we offer our clients resource advising, mental health counseling, group and educational programs, career services, educational workshops, programming, and scholarships. We also offer legal and financial consultation and education, all of which are offered little to no cost to our clients. Since this is a webinar about careers, I'll talk a little bit more about our career services. Our career coach program offers individual assistance in preparations for successful job search. This includes career discovery, resume preparation, interviewing skills, network techniques, and so much more. Our computer tutoring offers one-on-one help in navigating the online job site, uploading resumes, tutoring. It also helps with navigating our platform, as well as Microsoft Office application. In addition, we have 3 career closets, one in each of our locations, where we offer free clothing and accessories for women to attend, who are attending job interviews or who have secured a job and are in need of work attire. We also service our clients who are in need for clothing regardless of the reason. So again, we just want to hear from you. So if you do have a question at the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A box. Please use that. We will reserve time at the end of our webinar to answer some of those questions. Again, this webinar is being recorded and you will be able to watch in case you missed any information on our YouTube channel. We'll also release an email with that recording as well within 48 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, Neverly. Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to talk a little bit about LinkedIn today and about what we do at CareerSource Suncoast. So, as a nonprofit ourselves, we appreciate Ashley being on our board, representing Women's Resource Center and the partnership we have there. So, thanks again, Neverly, for the opportunity to talk about LinkedIn. As a nonprofit who deals in all things employment and training, LinkedIn is just such a great resource for me in terms of how do we connect with businesses, how do we connect with job seekers, how do we stay on top of what our community partners like WRC and our schools in the area are doing. And so for me, the LinkedIn has just become a part of my day, and then it helps me manage to be able to do a little bit of everything around that front. So I'll be curious to hear in the chat and in the Q&A at the end there how maybe you guys are using LinkedIn right now. And let's see if there's some ways that maybe we can better employ it for you going forward. So again, why are we talking about LinkedIn at all? So I mean, it is probably the preeminent social networking site around careers and businesses. And so again, for me, it's when I want to try and look at somebody's background or connect with the business or figure out who's the right person to get in touch with about this program, being able to see their connections, see where they've worked in the past, be able to find some commonality that we can connect around has been very beneficial. But especially when I think about looking at it from the career side. I mean, for me, it's definitely a place where I'm trying to highlight what am I doing in my field right now, or things that I've accomplished to be able to, again, build more connections, right, as we add new programs, or as I think about, the future of your career, right, places you might want to work, people who have the job titles are in the fields that you want to be in. How do they build that career path and be able to study maybe their career progression? And is that something that you can build on or follow in their footsteps to be able to get to the places you want to go, find that next job? And then research, right? There's just a wealth of data around individuals and businesses and what they're, what jobs are they posting? What do they have they post? Who works there? Who's previously worked there? So be able to identify, that information that you need to be able to think about, well, how can I get connected with this company, or how could I line myself up for a job they either have right now, or maybe something that they may have in the future going forward that aligns with where I'll be in my career here shortly. So here's some data. As a matter of fact, I managed to find some 2023 data now that we've rolled over. So it just continues to build as a platform. If you weren't aware now that, so again, great idea is that LinkedIn is now owned by Microsoft. So there's going to probably be even more connections in with Office 365 and the whole host of suite and things that Microsoft does. But the platform now has 900 million users, more than 200 of whom are in the US. We're talking about 310 million people use it on a monthly basis. And again, you look at those age profiles there, it said 87 million of our youngest are Gen Z. 59% of those 900 million users are in the 25 to 34 age range. So again, I think it continues to, as we want to make more connections, maybe as you're thinking about hiring within your organization or connecting with future employees, another opportunity where LinkedIn skewing younger and younger at this point in time. I think the other aspect to think about it is that 2 new users every second, it's all the way up to 3. It's just hard to fathom, right? That as I'm talking right now, more new people are jumping on board the platform every second there. That's wild to think about. Every minute, there are 90 job applications. So again, as we think about this as a tool for anybody who's looking for a job right now, joining us in, there's 90 job applications being processed every minute on LinkedIn, and 50 million people are using job features and job hunting on LinkedIn. So if you are looking right now, people who are going for the same positions you are on LinkedIn. So you might want to get there if you're not yet. So again, things to think about, as we get into our talk today. So are you currently using LinkedIn at the moment? If you're not, what's maybe held you back? How many people are using research on LinkedIn, looking at companies, thinking about how is your employer being represented? How is your school being represented? What might you be able to learn on LinkedIn? And then recognizing your skills and building them up as well. Another great function on LinkedIn that you can employ, and getting help from your connections, your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, to be able to talk up your skills as you think about where you want to go with your career going forward. LinkedIn can be great for all of those. I'll be curious to hear at the end how people are currently using it, and thoughts on maybe after we talk a little bit more things that you're not doing yet that maybe you can. So just again, some thoughts here on, again, what makes a good LinkedIn profile. Again, social. So always reticent of somebody that doesn't have a headshot, right? You'll see lots of profiles where it just feels very bare bones and there's not a picture. And is this really a person? And so again, also be something to be aware of, unfortunately in the digital age, being safe online. So think about that. But again, being able to verify that it is you, and be able to get more connections. People are looking for ways to validate that it is you, and how can you find more connections and make sure people are who they say they are online. So having that picture, having a profile that links in with somebody you may know or their background they know. Again, listing those skills as we think about using it as a job search tool, or having employers find you. You don't even have to be proactively using LinkedIn in your job search. You can be very passive, noting that you're maybe open to connections or open to work, but having those skills so that as you use it as a search function, again, right? Why would Microsoft and some of the other big tech companies be interested in social media platforms like LinkedIn? Because it's a, again, great search engine, be able to find people who are linked to specific skills as a specific resource. Again, endorsements are key, right? I mean, we think, again, while some of this is maybe thinking social media is a new profile, it's really the old school method of, maybe in the old days, we go around and ask teachers and former coworkers and former bosses for, a letter of recommendation, where now you can get all of that done via your profile with endorsements on LinkedIn. And again, it works, right? 64% of job seekers saying they get hired through a referral. So the ability to be able to get those kind of endorsements on LinkedIn, another way to be able to do that. I know specifically for us at CareerSource Suncoast, I can think of two specific examples within the last 6 months where LinkedIn was a very beneficial tool for us in terms of job recruiting. One, the ability to post jobs there. So I posted a position of ours, and somebody we hired found me through LinkedIn and the job itself. She wasn't a direct connection that I already had, wasn't somebody that I even knew. We weren't even, I think, second connections, but by the ability to have your job postings on the internet, being able to then other people to share them or get visibility from them, we managed to land a new employee who's been very successful for us over the first couple months of her tenure with us. Likewise, another one where I was scrolling through LinkedIn one day, and a friend of mine had reshared a post from a former coworker of his saying, "Hey, I'm out of work at the moment. I really need to find a new job, and I'm in marketing communications." It just so happened that we had a marketing and communications job open at the time. So I reached out to this person, even though we didn't know each other, but I sent him a message through LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I know you used to work with John. John and I are friends. He used to work with my wife at a previous job long time ago. We have this position open. Would you take a look and see if you're interested?" And he did apply, and we did interview him, and he got down to be one of the two finalists for the job, and we ended up picking another person. But again, it was not somebody who was on my radar, or maybe would have known about us and the job we had open, but through that visibility that I got through LinkedIn about this person. And again, that is all just through a common connection that we both had, sharing his post on, "Hey, I'm out of work and I'm looking right now. Does anybody have something that might be a good fit?" So as we talked about, a lot of this starts with that profile. So how do we figure out, how we talk about who I am or what I'm trying to get accomplished on LinkedIn, and vice versa? How do we be able to find those opportunities? And so that profile, that searchability, is definitely kind of the main factor when we're looking at, hey, what are we trying to accomplish on LinkedIn? And it's all going to start with building out that profile. So again, a profile encompasses a lot of features. And as I said, some of this stuff, while, social media feels very maybe new and different, if you're not on any social media platforms at the moment, all these things for me are very old school, and just the technology updates on things that and career searching we've been doing for a long time. So, um, you know, profile, a lot of CVs, in the days used to have pictures on them, right? Again, we talked about that. While 200 million plus people are in the US using LinkedIn, that means the vast majority of LinkedIn users are overseas. And a lot of people in our, other areas of the world are using pictures on their CV, right? Again, that heading, how do we be able to draw people in? So again, thinking about old school on on a piece of paper with your resume, you're trying to draw, people into wanting to know more about you as a candidate for their job opening. looking at summary. So again, how do we maybe list some of those skills, those keywords that we're seeing in those job postings that match positions you may be looking for, our work experience, our education. I already talked about endorsements. So again, being able to pull in those letters of support. Now they're just endorsements, our skills. So again, being able to pull those things that we normally would appear on a resume into a profile where, again, instead of being, limited by the page, we can now go on for days for people to catch through them. And again, the formatting is already formatted for you, not having to, look at different templates and how you want to design it. Again, those recommendations, listing your career interests or your volunteer interests. And again, to be able to link out to things is great too, whether that's your company website, a personal website, a portfolio if we're maybe more in the arts and design fields or web design. So again, that ability to be able to link out to things, to be able to get people in touch with your work and things you've accomplished in your career. Again, it's just a added benefit of LinkedIn to be able to take what we've been able to do with cover letters or resumes and go above and beyond from that. So again, emphasizing, right, again, I love now that not only do you have your profile picture, but you can also have a background. A lot of people maybe go with some nature setting, or again, here's some quotes, be able to tell you about yourself more as an individual, be able to draw people into you. Again, that in addition to your name, that headline. So right up top here, you can kind of use that as either kind of what kind of positions, especially if you're job searching. I would definitely emphasize using your headline to emphasize what kind of job are you searching for. Again, we talked about that, as a great resume tool back in the old days that, one of our coaches used to talk about, he had a client and he told him, look, you don't have what job you're interested in. The second he put that in his resume, the exact job title he wanted, he got 8 callbacks within the next week. So again, being able to emphasize, well, what are you looking for? That headline is a great attention grabber in terms of, again, you can see this one here. I'm a career coach. I'm an instructor. What am I looking for? Right. And then the summary is where maybe you can get a little bit more narrative in terms of, again, still a little bit limited in terms of word choice, but can get more defined into, again, maybe what specifically you're looking for, things you've done, emphasizing some of those keywords a little bit more there as well. Opportunities to be able to talk a little bit about what you're seeking in the next career path or specific things you've accomplished and where you want to go. Again, I love, LinkedIn, kind of off to the side, but very prominent. Where are you working or where you've been most recently, that education piece there. So again, the profile, just like a great resume in the past, talking how do we capture people's attention right off the top, but also the ability to, I think to personalize it maybe more than we could in the old days with the resume. And again, like I said, I love the background pictures there at the top, being able to invite people in a little bit more. And, I did I heard a great session from Jeff Bagley at State College of Florida, the 26 West Center. So now there are even AI tools being able to help you into that. So, I mean, if you're feeling really comfortable with technology, but not sure where to start on a LinkedIn profile, using some of the artificial intelligence tools out there to come up with, hey, what's a good background picture, or what's a great headline or summary for somebody looking for a job as a career development coach or as an instructor, to be able to help you. If, again, my background being a little bit in journalism. So even I understand that sometimes the blank page can be a tough place to figure out where to start. So again, I think, again, the summary still kind of limited on characters, right? You can't go on all day. So here's definitely some things to consider as you're writing your summary. The first 4 or 5 bullets, I think more so are who you are, who do you want to help, what are your interests, what drives you, what are you looking for? Again, putting it out there, especially in terms of thinking about this as a career search tool or your career exploration tool, being really clear with your summary on what do you want to do, what are your interests, and again, as I talk about that headline, maybe very specific job titles or specific industries that you want to be in. I tell people, especially if you're unaware of what you want to do, Women's Resource Center or Career Source Suncoast, I can definitely recommend some great short assessments We do one on ONET Online. It's basically just a smiley face and frowny face with like 60 different job tasks, and we'll spit out some different occupations at the end. I do that one a lot with students, but even for professionals who are maybe finding themselves at that inflection point in your career, can be done in like 4 minutes or less, and spit out a lot of different job titles. I tell everybody that Department of Labor has more than 1,000 different occupations that they track. So there may be things given a lifetime of education and experience in the career field today that you may have available to you that you may be a great fit for, and just don't even know that that is a job these days, or that's a component of an occupation. So I definitely recommend some diving into, if you're at that point where you're looking, never hurts to reassess yourself first and look at what's interested to you at this point in time in your career, your skills and abilities, and what occupations might line up with that. And again, with the summary, I think you can little bit more de-emphasize maybe the volunteer, the awards, the expertise at the end there, because as we get it deeper into the profile, there are now spots within your LinkedIn profile to be able to add all of those things as well. So again, definitely like a good resume, emphasizing, I tell everybody that I think the most common mistake that I see people make when I think about this thing is not using accomplishments and just using job tasks. Here is what I did at my job, which is important, right? You want to be able to show that to a potential new employer, that when you looked at their job description, you're like, I've done these things. But I think the important thing is not just that you've done them, but the accomplishments. So again, being able to be more descriptive in terms of how often have you performed that task, or how well that you've accomplished that task, to include, as we talked about on that last slide, then maybe pulling in those awards, those achievements within your career already. And again, I think, that, your LinkedIn profile, more so than the old days with the resume, having more space to be able to talk about your career path. How did you get on this journey? Why did you make move from job A to job B, and be able to go through it? And again, the ability to, I think it's a much better tool than an old school resume for being able to highlight those teaching jobs, those gig work, the freelance work. Now that that's so much more prevalent, I think LinkedIn's a much better platform to be able to highlight those things than, again, having read thousands of resumes in my time, both hiring for us as well as helping people, right? I think unfortunately a lot of people want to use that resume to go on and on. And so unfortunately that means you get into 2 and 3 pages sometimes to try and be able to tell that story, and you've lost them before they even got, halfway through the first page of your resume, where I think the scrolling experience on LinkedIn is maybe a little bit better for that. And again, especially if you've had a unique career journey between full-time, part-time, freelance, side work as well, I think it's a great platform to be able to highlight all those things in your career search. And again, don't be able to forget, I like this, again, when we talk about what needs to go on there. I love that, again, using the data, right, from the platform. So what skills and endorsements are in demand? Our partners at the state, CareerSource Florida, did a soft skills survey a while back, and communication was definitely on there. Time management was another one. So again, being able to think about when you're looking to ask people to endorse you for specific skills, or what do you want to talk about when you're creating your, experience in your education profile, highlighting your ability to showcase examples of where you were analytical, where you've used that business savvy, where you were in management or leadership roles, even if it was just within a club or a specific project at your last job. Or again, we won't dive deep into it, but there's, again, LinkedIn now is a great tool to be able to work on your communication skills, whether it's writing newsletters or recording videos of yourself and be able to talk about your work on a regular basis. So highlighting those communication skills. And again, you can see here, marketing with social media at the top there. So again, just being able to show that you are social media savvy enough to have a profile and be able to use LinkedIn is a skill that employers are looking for these days. I mean, as more and more we think about that, the sales process, it's relationship building. And so being able to do that via social media, I think, is a key skill across lots of jobs now. And so again, having a good profile and being able to do that is just part of it. So here's some profile reviews. Let me see if I can pull mine in real quick. It might be a little bit bigger here. Right. So again, when you're looking at it from the back end, the tools are real easy. Nervely, can we everybody give me a thumbs up if you can see my profile now, hopefully? Switch over from the PowerPoint. Are we good?
No,
No.
stop screen share real quick and then
Sharing. Okay.
here again, select the screen you like.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks. Go. All right.
There we go.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah. So again, you have the ability now to some real simple tools, just be able to customize just by clicking on a button, then be able to go into, pick, you can crop, you can, change photos real easy with some of these tools we have here on the site now. You don't have to be a design wizard to be able to do these things. It's a lot of just being able to type and upload documents and files and pictures to be able to do that. So again, for me, this space again, your headline being real key. So what do we want to talk about? For me, it was we're local, so we're very location focused. I want people to know where I am. Again, talent is kind of that. So what's the kind of the keywords in your field? Who do I work with? I work with employers, I work with job seekers, and then just emphasizing not just my employer, CareerSource Suncoast, but again, we are part of a whole statewide network. So if you're anywhere in the state of Florida, there's a CareerSource office in the county that you're in. And so being able to connect with us there is very important. Like I said, at the click of a button, you can let employers know that you're open to finding a new job or that you're hiring. So again, maybe you're freelancing, so you want to be able to provide services. So be able to do that. Again, a lot of this stuff can also be very passive. It doesn't have to be very open and out there with posts. Again, you can set some of these things pretty quick. Again, it'll show on your profile. So if you don't want your current employer to know you're looking, or they ask you, hey, why did you mark your open to work? Be careful on some of those things. But again, you can be very passive these days to show, again, recruiters that you're looking or candidates you're hiring at the click of a button there. And again, just being able to keep it. I love, again, data. If you love data, be able to show, again, why am I on? I'm, again, for us, it's how can I connect with more people locally who are looking? How can I connect with more employers who are hiring or more entrepreneurs? We work a lot in that area these days as well. Apprenticeship programs. So again, anything employment and training, the schools, making sure I know what training programs are out there. So for me, it's real important that again, showing up in searches because I want people to know that we're a resource that's out there able to help them. So again, that's appreciate Nervely and WRC to be able to talk about that there. So I love that there's a lot of data. I get weekly emails on one of my top posts this week. So again, you can go in and look at your analytics and see what's working and what's not in terms of getting notices, right? And again, there are some paid functions. I don't even use any of the paid functions. For me, I feel like I get a lot out of it just on the free side as well. So again, there are even some more tools if you're really willing and open to be able to dive deeper. For me, though, I feel like I get a whole lot out of even just the core functionality of what LinkedIn does. Again, like I said, with that the about section, you can dive a little bit more into the narrative. So again, for me, I'm using that space to like, who do I want to connect with? I want to connect with economic development organizations and the chamber and our government partners and others who work with CareerSource throughout the area. But again, emphasizing where we're at, our locality, and then what do we do, right? We help with recruitment, we help with training, we help with retention, we work with employers and job seekers. Again, just again, thinking more of social media, just like you would a search engine. So if I want to be known for these things, or these are the kind of jobs that I'm looking for, you're going to want to repeat those kind of keywords to be more searchable as employers are, typing that in again, right? We'll talk about the search functionality a little bit later, but you can search for jobs, you can search for companies, you can just search for keywords. And so the ability to be able to be found easier is up there. So again, posting fairly simple. Again, AI tools are also out there to help you to do with some of that stuff. For me, I also see it as important as who are we partnering with. So trying to tag. So, I mean, it's just as simple as you're writing your posts, with the little @ symbol and some of your other connections, or even people you're not connected with. you can tag them if you were, networking with them at an event. It definitely still, like I said, we're highlighted in our economic development and our chamber partners. While social media is great, there are still so many great in-person opportunities, right? Thanks, Nervly, for talking about all the things that you guys do in terms of, workshops and seminars. And so there are a lot of ways to connect with individuals. How are you going to be able to build up your LinkedIn connections? Sure, you can just outreach to people that you may want to connect with, but if they don't know you and they're not connections, so I don't want to lose that in-person piece either, that, right, building your connections and then being able to stay in touch with them online is, really important. I just hit my 15-year mark at CareerSource Suncoast. And so I had a real nice post, and there were people I hadn't talked to in years who reached out to me and just dropped me a nice note. And it's just a good reminder that just another tool to keep track of all those connections over the years that you accumulate in your career, because you never know when you might need to reach back out to them for an opportunity or something you have that might be a fit, or that looking for that recommendation, even though you haven't talked in years. Hey, we really did something great together 3 jobs ago that I'd love for you to highlight on my LinkedIn profile now that I'm looking again. So, and again, the ability just to repost things so for us, right, we're always trying to connect people to jobs. So as employers are posting jobs, I'm trying to repost things that I see that I think people might be able to take advantage of. Or again, we do a 10-week long entrepreneur course. So you want to think about starting your own business. LinkedIn even has events now. The chat function, I can even now pull up my chat and I can video chat people, even if you don't have like Teams or Zoom. So I've done a couple chats that way with somebody, again, in terms of candidates or connections. Like, I'd really love to talk with them and not just leave them a note. You can send them, a video chat, and if they're online right now, they can pick it up and you can start chatting. So, again, there's new features like that I hadn't really used before the last maybe 6 months to a year or so that are really taken off. And again, just being able, like a resume, use your experience and try and highlight some of those accomplishments. And again, emphasizing those keywords. Again, for me, it's, again, thinking about, tools I use, putting dollar amounts, frequency in terms of things, who do you work with, again, highlighting those partners there. So again, just like a resume, we want to highlight our education, our experience, any volunteer work you're doing or have done in the past. Again, just making you more searchable for people to be able to find you or find more pieces of connections. So again, right, we post jobs for employers. So being a part of the local HR chapter and the statewide HR network for me has been a big resource. So how to be able to do that. And then just like a resume, right, we want to emphasize those skills and getting those endorsements. So what are you known for? What jobs are you looking for? What skills would be important when you think about that next job, being able to have them and then get those endorsements and be able to receive and give some recommendations in there. So again, just appreciate, past colleagues doing that. And then, sometimes people are interested trying to find same levels of interest, whether it's, newsletters, right? So, United Way is a community partner. Pierce is a local employer we work with. So again, there's another way to be able to use in LinkedIn to be able to stay on top of companies via newsletters or following them, or schools. Again, we work a lot with the schools because we do scholarships to our local technical schools and our 2-year school as well. So as people are out of work and think about wanting to retool, that's something we do. So staying on top of what they're offering is important. And so again, I think just hopefully a few examples you can take from there to be able to look at in terms of what's important in terms of your profile and what you want to be able to include in there. So again, like we talked about interests, you can send up to 15 messages per month. So again, lots of opportunities to be able to. Hashtags are a great way to be able to highlight, again, we're in workforce development, or we're doing a lot of work with apprenticeships. So being able to see who's talking about, what you're interested in. Again, we talked about that search function right at the top there. So again, you can just search for keywords in terms of things that whether it's job titles, whether it's, skills that you have, or the skills of jobs you might be interested in. Again, just viewing it maybe less like like a social media site and more like a search engine in terms of, I know what I'm looking for and I want to find out what's out there in this in terms of that occupation or that industry or that particular skill set that I have that I want to be able to use at my next job. And again, right, being able to get those views and posts and show up in other people's search, because again, recruiters are out there using LinkedIn every day. We talked about all those job applications, all those job postings, right? Again, as somebody who's trying to connect employers to people who are looking, I'm encouraging those employers, hey, right, you can post a free job on LinkedIn for a first try like we did and be able to find some great candidates. You can be able to reshare that job that you posted on your own career site to LinkedIn, be able to get more views, and maybe it would get buried on our career page that you may not know exists, right? Whereas, again, we talked about all those stats at the front end on how many people are on LinkedIn. So, again, making sure you have as many career interests and letting recruiters know that you are open in that section to be able to look and find you. And again, like I said, that you can dive real deep into some of these settings to just how deep and personal you want and what you're looking for. So again, locations and preferences, there's a lot of great features there in the career interests. And we talked about that passive ability to let people know you're open versus being out there and posting and trying to share that information. So again, if we're using it as a career tool, we need to think like a recruiter. So what are they looking for, right? And again, we talked about, so recruiters are going in and using that search functionality too, right? So they're looking for locations, they're looking for skill sets, maybe they're looking for specific past employers or specific competitors that they might recruit from, geographies, maybe they do a lot of recruiting at specific schools because they know they have those degrees, and then keywords, right? So again, emphasizing you're going to need to put your skills in there. You want to make sure you have those kind of keywords. Your education is in depth, that you connected with your schools where you've graduated from, connected with your past employers, so that you'll be able to show up as recruiters are out there using all these specific filters to search for candidates. So again, like I said, this is what it's going to, for a recruiter, somebody searching, what comes up, you're going to get that search and you get, how many results match what you're looking for. So again, this is the quick snapshot they're going to get. So making sure that you have your current and past employers up there, as well as your education, because that's that snapshot that they're going to be able to get real quick. And again, right, emphasizing those skills, as you can see, you're going to come up with a lot of search, a lot of the times, again, emphasizing that skills are key, which is why we always emphasize pushing them high up on our resume, because that's the main functionality that many recruiters are using to search. And again, shared connections, right? So if you're looking for a specific company you'd like to work for, making sure you start connecting to or finding people that you already know who maybe have connections to it are important to be able to build that up so that you push higher up in those search functions. As you can see, this person's a second connection, meaning they're not connected to that person who was doing the search, but they have a connection who is connected to that person. So again, that's another filter where you can filter that your searches by first, second, or third degree connections. So again, maybe I'm more likely to, as a recruiter, reach out people who are my second connections because I do have some level of shared connectivity to them, as opposed to those third level connections where we don't really know each other. And especially now, LinkedIn is doing a better job in security wise, having to maybe reach out to them first before you can just send them, say, maybe an in-mail message. Again, social media, great aspect to be able to follow companies. So a lot of companies are using their social media as a way to stay connected to them, whether it's sharing events, right? Sharing job postings, sharing their newsletters. I showed you a couple of businesses that have them that I get them both as an email, but I also get notified when they share them as posts here, and just being able to stay aware of, again, whether it's you have a job now or you're looking right now and you would like to go work for that particular company and be able to get more information on them. It's just another great resource that you can get by using LinkedIn. And messages. So I showed you now, right, even the ability to use that as a video message feature. So, I mean, messages are great because again, once you have connected to somebody, you can reach out and let them know, hey, look, we talked. I've had somebody, hey, you told me 3 months ago you were looking. I just saw this great job opportunity. Are you still looking? Sort of thing, right? Or being connected with people at businesses, being able to say, hey, look, I saw you guys have a job posting. Do you know who this poster, who the HR person is who posted it, the recruiter who posted it, and can you connect me to them since we're connected, right? So the ability to use messages as function, like I said, whether it's just congratulations on that work anniversary or comments on somebody, again, be able to have some of that one-to-one personalization without needing to maybe know their email address once you're connected is a great functionality there. And again, it's just like Indeed or Monster. We use employeeflorida.com as the website. All the career sources around the state share. No matter what state you're in, there's a job workforce board. And Employee Florida, the company that creates that job search site, is based in Florida, but they do it for 40 different states. So if you're searching in lots of states using the state approved job board, it's probably going to look the same, created by a company called Geographic Solutions. But again, LinkedIn, we talked about it, 90 jobs every minute. Lots of people are using LinkedIn to search for jobs and apply online because, again, with a full profile, you have all of your skills, all of your experience, all your education on there for employers that are willing to accept applications on LinkedIn. It's a great functionality not to be, I'll have to go through their applicant tracking system or send them your resumes feature if you can. So again, certainly some functionality, or at the very least, the ability to find another resource in addition to all those job boards I mentioned to be able to figure out who's hiring right now and be able to apply, find those jobs and apply to them. So again, the beauty of the platform again is that ability to see how many jobs do they have open right now, learn some more about the company, what do they do, what are they looking for, and again, do you have connections who maybe can recommend you, or at least once you click that apply button and you've applied with them, follow up with your connections to say, hey, look, I just applied for this job. I don't know if you know anybody in that department, that manager. Again, but for me, what I love about what we get to do is because we deal with so many human resources people trying to understand that hiring process. So again, working with somebody like us at the Women's Resource Center to be able to help navigate, okay, I just applied for this customer service scheduler at Aerotech, Anthony. Do you know anything about their hiring process? Who would you interview with, right? What kind of questions do they like to ask? So again, that being able to, leverage LinkedIn and those connections and say, hey, can you maybe, get me connected to, or do you know who the hiring manager for this job is? So I know what kind of questions or what they may be looking for that's not explicitly in this job duties description, but I know, hey, look, this is why this job's open, or what will make somebody successful, in this role, or what did the last person do great that I would want to keep doing, sort of thing. So again, using those messages and the connection functionality to be able to get a leg up on everybody else who's maybe just applying, hitting that apply button, and maybe isn't taking advantage of that functionality in LinkedIn is definitely a key step in the game. And again, I also like now that, well, I definitely would never discourage people from applying for jobs, right? I think we were just talking about the local HR chapter had an event 2 weeks ago around imposter syndrome, and I think the statistic was like 60% less likely to apply if you didn't feel like you had all of the skills. And so while I love the job skills match feature telling you whether you might be a great fit or not, I also always encourage people to think about, hey, maybe you are a good match, and whether you have all 10 or half of them or even 3 of them, that if you feel like you're really competent and maybe have a good opportunity for this, I would recommend going for it, because you just never know who else is applying. But I do love that LinkedIn can kind of give you a little bit of that, or think about, what are the skills that I'm missing? Maybe I need to put those on my profile because I have them, or, oh, I didn't think about that, but I've done that, or I've done this in a different way, and maybe I need to update my profile. And the ability to do that in a snap is a great functionality in LinkedIn as well. So again, talk about how you match up. And again, oh, I didn't list business networking. I do business networking all the time, but again, maybe I didn't say business networking in my profile, right? Maybe I just said I go to lots of events, or I have lots of connections, right? So again, thinking about being very, again, looking social media as somewhat more of a search engine, Oh, okay. I didn't phrase it that way. I didn't use engagement or networking. I just said I have lots of connections or I go to lots of events. Okay. And again, the ability to, right, we said you can download it as a PDF, right? I don't know if I'd use that as a resume, but it's a great start to be able to search and use that as functionality. And so just being able to tap into sharing your profile with others. I do that a lot of the times with people on our team as well. Be like, oh, Ginger on our team is working on a grant around opioid and substance abuse that we got a couple years ago related to, the opioid epidemic. And, sometimes if I'll see somebody that I'm connected with, or even just maybe somebody that came through in a search for me, I'm like, maybe you might want to connect with this person. Or did you see this post? You can be able to share, I just shared a post from our CareerSource Florida president with our team, like, oh, they're doing this webinar around serving clients with disabilities, and we have a whole team working on that. You guys might want to be on that webinar, and then if there's any questions about how does that work at a local level, you can chime in and talk about what we're doing. So again, just a great ability to be able to share more of what you're doing out there with each other. Again, raising that profile or being able to get in front of more people, while certainly, social media is not all good, the ability to be able to do that more than be able to hand out one resume at a time at a job fair, be able to do that a lot quicker has certainly been one added benefit of a social media site like LinkedIn, especially as maybe your job search. I want to be able to get, I want to be able to cut down that time that I'm out of work, and so be able to share as much as possible as soon as possible to be able to get there quickly to get to my next job, to get to the right job, is definitely important. And again, we talked about skills. So, whether it's taking some quizzes or some assessments kind of thing is really great functionality. I know we use a free resource called Metrics that we subscribe to that has mostly video based learning. So again, as you're out of work and thinking about what skills do I want to be able to increase, again, recommend and reaching out to partners like Women's Resource Center or Goodwill has some great GC free online learning tools. Like I said, we're using a site called Metrics that's everything from basic, computer skills. So again, if you're, maybe a little leery of using the computer, or how can I increase my Word or my Excel skills, there's some online stuff to do that. I know State College of Florida does a lot of great in-person work if you'd love to learn in person some of those skills. And so Metrics has, again, video-based stuff where you want the basics of Word or Excel all the way up through. It's got classes, video classes that can help people prep for taking certifications in IT like CompTIA or human resources or project management, even getting you prepped to be able to get certified in those areas. So again, thinking about how can, even while you're out of work, how can you continue to build those skills or refresh those skills is important. And again, making sure then that you use your LinkedIn profile to capture what are you doing and be able to share that, right? Hey, I'm working on this CompTIA class right now, or I was at this seminar on using LinkedIn that the Women's Resource Center put out today as a post, right? So just a great opportunity to, while you're in that job search, or even if you're in a job, right, to, for me, that I view using LinkedIn as part of, right, we're a community resource. So my time is being paid for by, tax dollars through Department of Labor. So the ability to show, hey, look, these are the things that I'm working on, or how I'm trying to connect the community or improve myself to be better for our clients. I want to share those kind of things on LinkedIn. So like I said, right, definitely making sure we're using that time. So, again, using those quizzes or testing through LinkedIn or in other areas is definitely another good use of the site. And so again, just thinking about, again, prepping yourself, again, the ability to maybe retry, or again, I love that, they'll show you how long is it going to take, and then roughly, how skilled are you? So again, just another, piece that you can put in your profile or add to your endorsements. Hey, look, I took this, I passed, and I was in the 70th percentile of people with on LinkedIn using LinkedIn assessments for Microsoft Excel, right? So again, how do you not just show that I have skill, right? That job posting says, do you have Microsoft Excel skills? Not only do I have it, but here's a test to prove that I am pretty good at it. And not just pretty good, but I'm in the 70th percentile of all people who've taken that test. So again, right, just being able to emphasize those skills and be able to add it to your profile or share it in a post to get more visibility when you're in this really important time of, hey, I'm job searching and I want to be able to find my next position quickly because I don't want to be able to be on unemployment long because we know that that doesn't really pay the bills these days, and I want to be able to find a great opportunity. So again, I get the functionality of just being able to slide this button to be able to put it on there. Again, right? Some of these things trying to make it real easy so you don't necessarily even have to be super tech savvy or social media savvy to be able to have a good LinkedIn profile. So boom, start showing up immediately, be able to have there on there and look, people who've given you those those recommendations or endorsements, be able to thank them on their profile. Hey, thanks for that recommendation, be able to do it back for them. So again, we talked about learning, right? LinkedIn, they've incorporated a lot of courses within their platform. So seeing what's out there that you can take advantage of. So I see that, especially in 2020, right? I mean, look at people were using 4 million hours on LinkedIn Learning. So just encouraging everybody to take advantage of those resources through the platform or through partners like Women's Resource Center or CareerSource Suncoast to continue to further your career in this job search period there. So, and again, like I said, a lot of these being very video based, and I love that they'll tell you how long it'll take and you can break it down into chapters so you can pick up as you go, sort of thing. And then, like I said, there's some of these professional functions as maybe add in some costs. So you may find that as you get, especially in a job search, or maybe that time is money aspect of it, there may be some of the pro finder things, or use a free month, right? They're always trying to hit me up with, hey, be LinkedIn Premium or Gold for free for 1 month. So especially as you're out of work, that may be the time you want to take advantage of even some of those additional features like the Pro Finder badge or things like that that come, at a little bit of a cost that you may be able to take advantage of. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I love getting to talk about like LinkedIn. Like I said, for me, I don't view it as something that I have to do. I don't set, I'm going to post 3 times today or 5 times this week on it. But again, as opportunities arise, as events come up, things that I want to be able to share, career accomplishments, for me now, it's just a natural, habit to go, oh, I should put that on LinkedIn. I should let people know about that. Or I want to repost something great that our partners like Women's Resource Center or, like the schools are doing, and be able to talk a little bit more about that. So I know we're coming down here the last couple minutes, and it looks like we've got some questions. Are those in the more section? Q&A. Okay. Ooh, all right. Thanks, Brent. I didn't look at that one early, but hopefully I did emphasize enough that yes, absolutely. AI tools are a great way to help you build in your LinkedIn profile to help recommend how you might structure your experience or pictures to put in that background right at the top there, or things that like that. So yes, you definitely very much can use AI. Like I said, again, I recommend a lot of our partners out there are doing workshops around AI. Like I said, I really appreciated that State College of Florida and the 26 West Center came on site and did one for us. I'll have to see if we have that video set up that we could share to talk about specifically about some of the different AI tools. Like I said, I'm not trying to learn all the names. You got OpenAI, I think Copilot, I think is that Microsoft's or Google's. Gemini is the other one, trying to keep the different platforms squared away. So yes, AI is definitely something. If you ask it, hey, can you recommend what would be a good headline for someone looking for a job in social services for my LinkedIn profile, it will very much give you some ideas to work on. Definitely recommend refining it, but again, if that blank page idea is scary to you, using AI tools to help you get started and maybe refine it is a great way to go. So anonymous question asks, how can I get more endorsements from my network? Ask them. They don't necessarily know to do it, but if you ask, I'm sure that your former coworkers, classmates, people who know you're looking right now would be glad to help you to be able to get those endorsements. And be specific, right? Would you write me an endorsement for my LinkedIn skills because you attended that workshop that I did for the Women's Resource Center in May of 2024, right? Or do you remember that project we worked on and the marketing campaign? Can you recommend me for marketing because I'm looking for a marketing job, right? So just be very specific and reach out to people who you know have seen your work and can comment on, again, just like a resume. Can you be very specific on what I accomplished in that particular endorsement you're looking for and how often and how well or how good I am at that particular skill when asking for that endorsement? Yes, CareerSource Suncoast will help you with all aspects of your career search, including building your LinkedIn profile. We can go through this particular slideshow one by one. We can look at what you already have, make some recommendations in terms of your LinkedIn profile. But certainly, again, like I said, for me, this is just one of the better tools, and I would certainly recommend making sure that you are using it as a great tool there. So, all right, next question. Can you reach out to recruiters from specific companies directly on LinkedIn or current employees of said companies to get more information? Yeah, definitely on reaching out. Let's see if I haven't tried to type yet. I would recommend reaching out to people who work at that company right now. And like I said, so that's again looking at, if you have a specific company in mind, okay, let me look at my connections. Who do I know who either is there now or could get me connected to somebody right now and start there, right? Again, or looking at who are your second connections at that specific company and then backtracking, okay, who's the person that we have in common? And would I feel comfortable reaching out to that person and say, hey, can you connect me to this person that you know that's at company X because I'm really interested in them and I want to know more. But yeah, doing what we call, an informational interview, even if they're not the recruiter, the hiring manager for the particular position you may want or in the department you'd want to work in, but just say, hey, I know you're at that company or you used to work there. Could we do a video chat on LinkedIn or could we meet in person? I'm really curious. I might want to work there someday. Can you tell me the good, the bad, the ugly about what goes on there or what your experience there was like? And again, isn't that a step up from the person who just applies online, right? Where now, if you get to that interview stage, you can talk more important about, well, why would you want to work there? Well, I talked to somebody who used to work there a couple of years ago and they told me about this and that's so aligns with my values, or that's so in common with what I was just doing in my last job and what I want to keep doing in terms of my next job. Well, there you go. I'll tie Meredith's comment into the anonymous one about recommending LinkedIn Learning. I don't know that I would recommend it over and above anything else, but to that point, if you have a library card and you can use it for free, certainly would recommend trying it. Again, like I said, I wanted to highlight lots of different resources out there. I'm not picking and choosing, Goodwill, GC free online learning versus LinkedIn versus what we're doing at Metrics. So again, I'd reach out there and try a couple different others. Virginia, can I have a profile that has too much info or be too busy? I guess I would say probably not. Again, think about how you like to read stuff online, though. If it feels like a really big block of text with no spacing in there, potentially. But again, that's what I like about the way LinkedIn has it set up, which is what we recommended in the old days with a resume, right? Is keeping your basic information at the top. You got a headline that hopefully is drawing people into what do you do? What are you interested in? What skills do you have? You've got that summary, right? So now we've got, a couple lines of narrative there, but not too much text. So to me, ideally, if I've gotten all the way down to your education and experience, I'm pretty super invested in what you're doing right now. I'm trying to remember what the stat was. I want to say it was the average recruiter takes about 8 seconds to read your resume. So that feels about right. I feel like I breeze through people's LinkedIn profiles. So just be aware that maybe if you're putting a ton of detail or information in there in one particular section, that might not be having quite the intended level you think you have. So, I mean, if you're using your experience and you're writing 4 lines about one specific skill in that you had at your current job, that they may not get to that next level of that then get through everything, the other bullets you may have about that specific uh, work experience you have. So that may, again, if you go too heavy on one thing, they may stop reading at that point. But for the most part, again, I think the structure is leading itself to just continue to, again, emphasizing the keywords of what you want to do that you think people in your field are looking for. And that'll convince them to want to keep reading, right? That just, again, just like anything else, whether it's a story in a magazine, it's a book, right? If it's interesting, I want to keep reading. If it's not, I'm done. I've used my 8 seconds and I'm on to the next thing. Virginia, is it a bad idea to add any disabilities or restrictions? For me, again, like I said, we work with people with disabilities all the time. I'm always emphasizing on what can you do. I would pose it the other way. Emphasize what can you do or what might I need accommodation, right? I mean, again, that's the key word, right? When we think about disabilities is I can do this with this accommodation, and that's all an employer needs to hear and has to hear legally, right? In order to be able to look at you and go, look, you're a qualified candidate for me, right? So again, if that's in the job description there that says, hey, we need somebody who can do this, and that's what you're looking for, then I would emphasize I can do this with this accommodation, sort of thing. But again, I'd more focus on what you can do and not what you can't do. And again, if what you can't do is the main thing that they're looking for, then I'd be questioning, well, is that a good fit for you anymore? Maybe thinking about other opportunities. Can remote work? Answer is yes. So what I love about employflorida.com, so again, I talked about that's kind of the resource that all the career sources share. So all the clients, all the job seeker clients we work with, all the employers we work with, we register to Employ Florida. We post jobs for employers there because that's the tool that we try and use to match people best. What I love is they did definitely add a field now for remote work, right? Do you accept remote candidates? Is this job available for hybrid or remote work? Is now a searchable function within the Employ Florida platform. So I definitely recommend if you have clients looking for remote work that they create a profile at employflorida.com, because you can limit your searches to say, all I want to see is remote jobs. And not only that, again, what I love about Employ Florida, and I think most of the other major platforms have that these days, is with Employ Florida, we call it the virtual recruiter. So if you say, I only want to see remote jobs in this industry that pay this amount of wage, that have this level of benefits, you can be that level of specific. And then you can get either daily or weekly emails or texts updates of only jobs that meet that criteria. And you could set up to 10 of those. So it could be as general. I just want to see all marketing jobs, or again, I have very specific job criteria of what I'm looking for. Great. You don't have to log into the platform every day to see new jobs. If you know those are the only types of jobs you want to see, we will send what matches your interests, as specific as you want to be, again, daily or weekly, email or text, whatever your preference is. Apologize. I know I've gone a couple minutes over, but I think we cleared all the questions.
Yep, so that looks like that's all for today. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our career connection this month, as well as thanking Anthony with CareerSource Suncoast for holding this engaging webinar for us on mastering LinkedIn. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Thanks all. Goodbye.